In our first story, the Ghana National Association of Teachers says the delay in the release of government subvention to various directorates is affecting teaching and learning in schools across Ghana. Well, heads of salaries, terms and conditions, Kwame Ahinkwakwashe hints the situation has compelled directors to use personal funds for the daily running of their offices. Mr. Kwashi says only some 6,000 Ghana cedis has been paid to the district education offices since February this year.
And international bodies such as...
He reveals a 2009 agreement between the Ghana Education Service on terms and conditions of service and scheme of service in accordance with Section 99 and 102 of the Labour Act 2003, Act 651, is yet to be addressed. Mr. Kwashi reminded government of 18-month arrears owed to GES employees. According to him, affected institutions including Ghana Health Service, Judicial Service Association of Ghana and Civil and Local Government Service Association of Ghana have all been refunded.
The monies that we contributed from January 2010 to August 2016 is still with the National Pensions Regulatory Authority, NPRA. Indeed, the other public workers, their contributions have been paid to them. For example, the Ghana Health Service, Civil Servants and Local Government Association, their contributions have been paid to them. But with that of the Ghana Education Service, some unseen hand in the Ministry of Finance is saying that we don't have a custodian and therefore they will not release the funds to us. Mr. Chairman, we again sounded a note of caution that if by the close of this year and the money has not been released to us, we will back out of this new pension regime.
The Canadian Teachers Federation has been collaborating with the Ghana National Association of Teachers for 56 years. Ghanaian teachers have enjoyed bursaries for further studies and mentorship among others. This year's training comprised 480 teachers from Upper West, Upper East, Northern and Bron Ahafo regions. Leader of the team, Loris Hunter, was optimistic the program will translate into improved teaching and learning in schools.
Amazing opportunity. I've enjoyed my time here working with the Ghanaian teachers. We've had, like I said, a truly phenomenal time. We've had a lot of enthusiasm from the Ghana Teachers Association and all the participants here at the event this week.
Reporter for JoyNews, Kwesi Deborah.
And several kilometers away, residents of New Krobo in the Techiman municipality of the Bonafo region, they are appealing to government to save the community from devastation caused by the rains as they are cut out of the main municipality whenever it rains. Well, the situation also makes it difficult for students in the area to get their way to various schools. Bonafo Regional Correspondent Anas Sabit reports that residents are infuriated at successive governments for failing to put in measures to help solve the problem.
It's about 6:30 a.m. when we got here a day after a heavy downpour during the night. Residents within this part of New Krobo, also known as Samawati, a suburb of Techiman, are cut out of the municipality whenever it rains. Traders, market women and most especially school-going kids are the most affected. These poor school children have to take off their shoes and cross the river carefully to ensure they don't fall into it. Some parents have to carry their walls at the back to cross this river if they want their kids to go to school. We saw how these school children struggle to make it to their various schools. We saw how some of them fell into the river, a river we are told houses wild crocodiles, and so we ask, is this what happens anytime there is heavy downpour?
Yes. We find it difficult to cross it. When we want to come to school, we don't come to school. That's right.
Is it dangerous to cross this river?
Yes.
Why?
Because when we are crossing it, it may even reach this place. It's even dangerous.
Then came Nordin Kasim, also a resident of the area, who was on his way.
Oh, I apologize for that sound poor quality, or the poor quality of sound in the story. We'll rectify that and bring that to you subsequently. But let's move on. The Auditor General, Daniel Domolevo, has described as unacceptable that half of the revenue that accrues to the state is expended on just less than 1 million government employees. The situation, he says, does not leave enough to cater for the needs of the remainder of the population, numbering over 27 million. At a meeting with the Audit Service on Monday at Cape Coast in the Central Region, Mr. Domolevo also criticized the retired public servants who are retained as contract staff for contributing to the bloated public sector wage bill and Ghana's high unemployment situation. Richard Kwabena has more on the story.
A nationwide crackdown on payroll fraud is set to begin this week and is expected to force all civil servants to justify their employment status. This is part of government radical steps to remove ghost names from the country's payroll. The Auditor General's department is teaming up with a special prosecutor to enforce the measure, which starts in the Central Region from Tuesday. All civil servants in the region will have a 10-day window to produce evidence of their employment, and those who cannot do so subject to prosecution. Meeting staff of the Audit Service and other stakeholders that matter in the special exercise at Elmina in the Central Region, the Auditor General Daniel Domolevo expressed concern about how the payment of government employees consumes almost half of the total revenue generated in the country.
People think donor support will develop Ghana. Nobody is coming to build your father's house for you. You have to build your own father's house because everybody has his father's house to build. If we take the 28 million Ghanaians, we are spending about half of our revenue on less than 1 million Ghanaians. What about the others? That's the point we are talking about. Because on the payroll is far less than 1 million. It's about 600 and something thousand. So if we are spending about half of the total revenue on less than 1 million, what about the remaining 27 million Ghanaians? No wonder they are wallowing in so much poverty. And let me say, this is a very serious exercise we want to conduct. It's not like the ones in the past. The ones in the past, they identify them as ghosts, they remove them, then they resurrect. Somebody even had the audacity to say it on radio that I've resurrected 3 times. And say, you will die the 4th time and you'll see. I will die the 4th one, we will see how you resurrect. Because we are going to do a very meticulous exercise, a very professional. We're not targeting anybody. If you are a staff, you are a staff. Nobody can deny you your employment. But if your name is finally identified as a ghost, I'm going to activate my constitutional mandate and Article 187 to disallow your existence. And according to the Constitution, only a high court that can turn away that decision before you can come back on the payroll.
Daniel Domolevo says the practice where people who retire are given contracts must not be entertained. He is convinced when such persons are cleared from the payroll, graduates can be employed to reduce the unemployment situation in the country.
We shall come out to let Ghanaians know how many people are overage on the payroll. When the curtain falls, it's time to leave the stage. Ghanaians don't know that. They falsify birth certificates so to remain below 60 years. You meet some people who are still active workers and you wonder how many times they will be 60 years. So we will bring that out. When I talk about this, people don't know how serious it is. But I argue that even if we should remove one person, as a result of which we can recruit one person, it is worth it. But believe me or not, there is one institution that we have gone to study. That one institution alone has contract employees 182. Just one institution. It's a very small institution too. It's not a very big one. So as part of this exercise, we shall be identifying those who should not be on the payroll because the Constitution has a time limit where we must all go home. Is that not it? It is right for you to go home. And I say this and I'll say it here again, that I think it is one of the problems this country has. Because people who are on contract and still on the government payroll, Honorable Minister, some of them earn more than twice your salary.
Richard Kwabena Owusu JoyNews, Cape Coast.
The audit.
Oh, some interesting revelations there, but let's move on. President Akufo-Addo says government will lend support to give the late Professor Owusu a dignified funeral. President visited the widow and family to commiserate with them and described the late celebrated poet and cultural activist as an outstanding Pan-Africanist who lifted high the black star on the international arena.
The late Professor Owusu, a celebrated poet, cultural activist and academic, was the General Secretary of the Pan-African Writers Association. He passed on at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital on Friday, July 13, after a short illness. The 77-year-old is noted for his excellent delivery of poems and is believed to be one of the first real poetry performers to have emerged from Africa. His performances on radio and television include an acclaimed 1975 appearance at the Poetry International event at the Queen Elizabeth Hall in London, where he shared the stage with U.S. poets Stanley Kunitz and Robert Lowell and Nicolas Guillén of Cuba. President Akufo-Addo was at the residence of the late poet to commiserate with the family. Joseph Emmanuel Adote-Papo speaks for the family.
Today, unfortunately, we are meant because he has passed on. Over the past 8 weeks, he was indisposed, and he attended the hospital to seek medical care for his condition. Unfortunately, last Friday, he took his bow and left us, and therefore the family is here today trying to think about how to lay him to a peaceful rest.
For President Akufo-Addo, the late Owusu was a great friend. He praised his contribution to arts in Ghana and Africa.
I heard the news of his death with a lot of sadness and sorrow. I called the house, and I had the opportunity to speak to Kloko, and said she should extend my condolences to you. He's a big Ghanaian. Our nation will miss him. The continent will miss him because he had a reach that was beyond Ghana. All of us know about his commitment to the Pan-African project.
Professor Owusu was survived by a wife, Miss Beatrice Owusu, and 5 daughters.
May he rest in peace. And that's it for the latest news update we have. We'll have more news as we review the newspapers. We'll be looking at the notable newspapers circulating this morning. And then also look at myjoyonline.com. Look at the other online portals. I mean the others. But please, you are also critical or more important to us. And so get interactive with us on JoyNews on TV, regular page on Facebook, and let us hear from you. We have other social media platforms. As you do that, know that we're here with you right here on the AM show. Stay on. We have more for you.